Shawna Benoit here, and today we're going to go over the F704 amendment to address concerns with property. This form is used when a buyer finds issues during due diligence period and asks the seller to address them. Examples of concerns are inspection repairs, structural issues, roof problems, HVAC replacement, termite damage, safety issues, etc. This form memorializes the agreement between buyer and seller on how those issues will be handled. Amendment number. This is simply a tracking number. For example, Amendment 1, Amendment 2, Amendment 3, etc. Important instructions. This form should only be used when the contract includes a due diligence period, because this amendment addresses concerns discovered during due diligence. If there is no due diligence period, another amendment should be used. Date. This is the date the amendment is written or proposed, not necessarily the date that it becomes binding. Whereas clause, identification of the original contract. This section identifies the original purchase agreement being an amendment. It states the buyer's name, the seller's name, the binding agreement date, and the property address. This section tells us exactly which purchase contract we are modifying. Binding agreement date. This is very important legally. It is the date when the last party signed the contract and notice of acceptance was delivered. This date controls deadlines like due diligence period, financing contingency, closing timeline, etc. Amendment purpose. This form states the parties desire to amend the agreement for their mutual benefit. Both buyer and seller agree to modify the contract terms. When the amendment becomes effective, the amendment becomes effective only when one party signs accepting the amendment. Notice of acceptance is delivered to the other party. This follows the notice section of the contract. Real estate contracts become binding through signature and notice. Key legal protection. This form states, if this amendment does not become effective during the due diligence period, it becomes null and void. If the buyer and seller do not reach agreement before due diligence expires, the agreement has no legal effect. After due diligence, the buyer usually loses repair negotiation leverage. Due diligence options. This section says, if seller agrees to address buyer concerns, the remainder of the due diligence period shall terminate or shall not terminate. This is very important in negotiations. Option 1, due diligence terminates. If checked, buyer cannot terminate for inspection issues anymore. The buyer is accepting the repairs as the final resolution. Option 2, due diligence continues. If checked, buyer keeps the rest of the due diligence period. This gives the buyer more protection. Consideration clause. The amendment includes legal language in consideration of $10 and other valuable considerations. This is standard contract language confirming that there is something of value exchanged in the agreement. It makes the agreement legally enforceable. Property concerns section. This is the most important part of the amendment. The form states the following language is furnished by the parties and is particular to this transaction. This means agents or parties write a specific agreement here. Example, seller agrees to replace HVAC before closing, repair roof leak, treat termites and repair damage, replace broken window, seller provide $5,000 seller credit, for example. Page 2, additional pages. Additional pages F801 are attached if there are many repairs or detailed scope of work. Agents attaching the GAR F801 additional provisions. Example, contractor specifications, timelines, inspection reports. The amendment states all other terms and conditions remain the same, meaning only the items written in the amendment are changing. Everything else in the original purchase agreement still applies. For example, price stays the same, closing date stays the same, financing terms remain the same. Amendment becomes part of the contract when this amendment is signed by all parties. Acknowledgement clause. By signing, buyer and seller confirm they have read the agreement, they understand the agreement, they agree to the terms. Buyer signs, seller signs, listing agent signs, seller agent signs. Acceptance date. This section records the moment the amendment becomes binding. It includes the date, time, and notice of acceptance. Once acceptance is communicated, the amendment becomes legally binding. And this concludes the F704 amendment to address concerns with property.